Steve talking earlier, I don't think people realize how special at times these really are. You know, I think that really we were in this debt meeting. I know Carlos was there. And we were in this meeting in Kansas City, I don't know, a week ago, and I was sitting in that room, and I said out loud, I truly believe right now where we're at in the company, I believe this is how Art Williams would have felt when he founded Primerica in 1977, and I really believe it. Honestly, I said that out loud in front of everybody. I believe that's the time that we're in right now, and I just think we got to take advantage of it. You know, and as I get started, you know, my message to a lot of people is if you had this room full, if you had more people here, you would make more money. And a lot of times people don't relate that to their business. They don't relate getting more people showing up to making more money, because I knew that when I got started here, I might not be the best, but I could recruit somebody, put them in front of the best, and let them train my people. And I would learn eventually right with them. Does that make sense? And I just think, as you see this here, it says promotion pays big money in American business. And if you grow your attendance, you're going to grow your income. A lot of people have asked us, how do you grow licensing? How do you do that? And we just grew licensing through getting more people to show up to meetings. Now, PFSU is a meeting, right or wrong? But the same talent it takes more people to show up to an op meeting is the same talent it takes more people to show up to PFSU. It's the same exact thing. And so I'm going to prove to you guys today that promotion pays big money. See, you got to understand that the biggest promoters always make the most money. I don't care if you're in Primerica, I don't care if you're in football, I don't care if you're in boxing. It just so happens this theme goes perfect with my talk, right? But anybody heard of Don King? Raise your hand if you heard of Don King before. Yeah. Everybody in this room knows who Don King is. Well, he's a great promoter. How about Oscar De La Hoya? Raise your hand if you ever heard of him, right? Everybody heard of Oscar De La Hoya. How about Floyd Mayweather? Anybody heard of Floyd Mayweather? He's a great promoter. But if I ask you, who's Bob Arum? Whoa. Nobody knows who Bob Arum is. Raise your hand if you heard of Manny Pacquiao. Right. A lot of people go, yep, well that's Bob Arum's so-called promoter. But you don't even know who he is. But you know who all these other guys are, and they're all promoters. So I'm going to prove to you why being the best promoter makes the most money. By the way, being a promoter is what it takes to get people to show up to a meeting, to get people to go on kitchen table appointments, to get people moving through the system. You understand they call it a promotion, right? Like going from district to division is a promotion. You got to promote people, right? So you look at Don King, right? Mike Tyson was 20 years old. He was 20-0. He's worth $100 million. He's 20 years old, 20-0. He was worth $100 million. He was the heavyweight champion of the world at 19 years old. Why? Because of Don King. It wasn't because of Mike Tyson. It was because of Don King made Mike Tyson the $100 million, right? You ever heard of the Rumble in the Jungle? Who's heard of that? Right? How about the Thriller in Manila? Anybody heard of that? See, you weren't even alive probably, and you heard those sayings before. But Don King came up with those sayings, and you remember, you might not even be a fan of boxing. You might not even know anything about the sport. You've heard people say those sayings because of that guy right there. Right? The whole world knew and still knows. Some of us weren't even alive, and Don King has been paid over $1 billion from getting people to show up to the Rumble in the Jungle, getting people to show up in the Philippines to a fight. He made billions of dollars because of that, right? So you look at Bob Arum. Nobody in this room knew who Bob Arum was. Well, Floyd Mayweather was 20-0 and made no real money in boxing. Mike Tyson had made how much? $100 million. Why? Because he had a better promoter. See, the question is, are your people making a lot of money? But then you got to ask yourself, are you a good promoter? How many people have you developed to make big money? Okay? His promoter was Bob Arum. He had made no real money. He was 20-0 and made no money because his promoter was Bob Arum. Mike Tyson was 20-0, been paid $100 million. Manny Pacquiao's last fight, he made $7.8 million. Guess who his promoter was? Bob Arum, right? Well, Floyd dropped Bob Arum at that time and decided to promote himself. So now this is a big risk at this point because he dropped a promoter. So now he has to fight and he has to put on an event. Right. So you guys just got to show up and bring people. That's all you got to do. So let's think about it. Now it's up to him to put on the whole event. So, you think about an event. You think about why Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather haven't fought yet, because Manny Pacquiao lost a 50-50 split. But Manny Pacquiao don't pay crap. His last fight, he made $7.8 million. I'm going to show you how Mayweather gets paid, and you get paid exactly the same way. But most people don't connect meeting attendance. This is it, right? So, Floyd Mayweather writes out of his check. He's got to rent, like when you just saw, I don't know if you guys saw, but he just fought this last weekend and won again, right? And now he's 43-0, but he just fought. Well, he rented out MGM Grand, so $5 million to rent out the arena. Now, I don't know if these numbers are exact, but they're pretty close. I'm going to tell you why I say that. But obviously, there's no one's going to disclose all of this stuff, right? But then he's got to pay a $10 million fighter guarantee. Miguel Cotto had a $10 million guarantee that he got whether he wins or loses the fight. So this last fight, he made Miguel Cotto got a $10 million guarantee, and Floyd Mayweather writes his check. Floyd Mayweather has to pay this out before he ever makes any money. Y'all understand that? So Floyd Mayweather says, here at MGM, here's $5 million. Here's Miguel Cotto, here's $10 million. He's got to pay $2.5 million for the event staff, security, the referee, the people on TV, Michael Buffer, let's get ready to rumble, all that kind of stuff, right or wrong? Right? He got to pay $2.5 million for hotel rooms, flights, food, for all those people to fly in town to help him put on this event. But now starts the promotion. See, that's just the event. See, Brennan and Ann put on this event. They paid for the room. I don't know, any of you guys in here write a check to the school to rent this room? No, Brennan and Ann did. So this is the part that somebody else gets to handle for you, but Floyd Mayweather, when he fights, he has to do all this himself. But now you've got to start promotion. And the better job you do at this, the more money you make. And I'm going to prove it to you. So he spends $5 million in advertising. Now what kind of advertising does he do?
Face to face.
Everything. He gives guys flyers. They go out on the strip in Las Vegas and handing out flyers. He rents billboards. He rents commercials. They do 24/7. He lets somebody follow him around with a camera 24 hours a day, 365 days until he finishes that fight. Right? Then he's got to pay $1 million for a private jet to go to a city-to-city tour. So he gets in a plane. It costs $8,000 an hour to go to each city he goes to. Right? He's got to go from city to city to city to tell everybody in that city why they need to come to Las Vegas to watch the fight, or they need to rent it on pay-per-view. See, most of you guys don't know, Mayweather getting ready to go to jail on June 1st, right? Because he got in an altercation or whatever, and if you're a professional fighter, that happens if there's an altercation, right? And so, that being said, the city of Las Vegas delayed his prison sentence because he brings so much money to Las Vegas.
Right.
$300 million. He said, we ain't sending him to jail. He brings way too much money into our city.
Right.
So, he's got to get a private jet. He pays $500 grand to get those flyers, those tickets, those t-shirts. Anybody get flyers for this event? Tickets, all that kind of stuff, right? That cost is $26,500,000 grand. He writes in checks to even start the event. And most of you guys go, you mean I gotta buy 10 tickets? You wonder why Mayweather makes the money he makes. Now the promotion starts. So now he's got to start getting in that jet. Now he's got to start reaping the rewards from the advertising, getting those flyers out, getting those tickets out and everything, right? So now the income starts. So now he sells out the arena. There's 15,000 seats at the MGM. Average tickets $200 or more. Okay, I'm going on the low end because they're between $200 and $1,500. But $200 each, that's $3 million they make in ticket sales. How much did it cost him to rent out the arena? $5 million. So up to this point, he's lost money, right? But he's still got the floor seats, and they're about $5,000 a piece. They're anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000 to sit ringside. Okay, that's what it costs. So he has 500 of those. That's another $2.5 million. So now he made $500 grand just from renting out the arena, right? Now he makes $500 grand because he sells shirts, posters, all that kind of stuff. He signs them all. Anybody ever see that? Professional athlete do that?
Right.
Right? Then $250 grand. Every beer, hot dog, or soda sold that day, Floyd Mayweather gets a check. Everything sold that day, he gets a check. And that's conservative because that's only $10 a person that shows up to the event.
Right.
And you know, a beer in Las Vegas costs $10 at an event like that. A hot dog's like $8. Right? Then, the pay-per-view fight, he gets at least 10%. I don't know the exact numbers, but I just do the math and I can kind of figure it out working it backwards. But this last fight, he had actually 15 million views with Miguel Cotto, but the fight before that was 10 million viewers. Watch pay-per-view, $59 a pop, 10% of that's $600 million. You guys, $600 million that HBO made. They give him a 10% cut. How much does he get of it? $60 million. But then he gets his $30 million guarantee, which comes out of what? Right. The pay-per-view money, the $600 million. Because he gets a guarantee that he pays himself too, right?
Right.
So that's a revenue of $96 million. But he paid $26 million to put on the event, so how much does he make? $69 million. You know how much he made in his last fight? $68 million. And this last fight, just barely with Miguel Cotto this last week, and the numbers aren't out yet, there was 15 million viewers, an all-time record. Nobody's ever watched that many people on pay-per-view in the history of sports. So do you think promotion pays big money?
Right.
It pays the staggering amount of money. It pays the staggering. Now, we all have the same amount of money, but it comes down to putting butts in chairs. See, if we could put 10 million butts in chairs, willing to pay $60 a pop, we would make more money than that. Y'all understand that? But you guys go, well, if I bring somebody, I don't know. Well, the numbers are the numbers. It doesn't matter. Rafa just talked about it. If you bring people, you grow your income. That's the way it works. John Addison was telling us last night. Joe answered someone asked him, what's the fundamental? He said, bring people. What kind of people? Breathing people. Is that what I said? Right? So, I got 2 minutes before I play this video real quick. So I'm just going to talk about this. I'm going to play this video from Floyd Mayweather. I want you to understand his thinking as we get ready to do this video, because it's going to take hard work. And understand the first 50 is the hardest. See, when I went out to see Bill Whittle in Baton Rouge, he gave me a book called Natural Church Development. It was a textbook on how to grow churches. And in that book, the numbers are, if you invite 10 people to church, guess how many show? 3. Guess how many pay tithing? 1. I went, you got to be kidding me. And it also said in that book that the first 50 is the hardest. And I found out it's the exact same way in Primerica. Nothing changes, right? 50 plus showing up will solve all your issues. I got problems. I'm not making enough money, recruiting enough people. You're not excited enough. Just get 50 new people showing up. I promise you're jacked up, right? And your goal should be, right? The fastest growth happens between 50 and 100. And your goal should be to have 100 plus showing up to go RVP. People always ask me, Jeff, what do I have to do to go RVP? Get 100 people showing up, then we'll talk. Oh, yeah. That's it. I'm not going to try to freaking mess everybody's thinking up with, I gotta learn all these stuff. Now, should you learn all that stuff? Yes, but get 100 people showing up, I'll bet you learn that stuff. The best meetings and events are the ones with new guests and new agents. But it's going to take hard work and dedication, which is something. You know, people always ask me, why do you like Floyd Mayweather so much? Because he is the hardest working athlete, I believe, in the history of sports. I believe he works harder than Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, any of them put together. And I promise, he does 3 a days. And he is famous for his hard work. He's 43-0, made hundreds of millions of dollars. And it's because of the mindset he's going to talk to you about right now. So if you can pull up that video, and then as soon as this video is done, I'm done, and the next speaker can come up. But I hope you guys pay attention. You should go back home. It's called A Portrait of a Fighter. And you should go back home, because in this business, to get wealthy, you're going to have to fight. It's not going to be easy. But I promise you, the lifestyle you'll generate is going to be better than you could ever imagine that it's going to be. So play that video. Thanks, guys.